Hey everybody, it is Kerry with the week ahead. We're looking at September 7th through the 13th. So the big deal is we've got a big total lunar eclipse happening on Sunday, September 7th. For the most part, the region of the world that will see the eclipse, because it's a lunar eclipse. Lunar eclipse means the moon is eclipsed. In order to see that, it has to be nighttime. So it will be visible to those in Asia, Australia, Africa, those type of places. So let's just dwell on lunar eclipses and solar eclipses for a second. And I want to zoom out, actually, beyond this week. Because honestly, from myself and just others that I've been talking to and observing, it's been a really difficult week behind us, this leading up to the eclipse. And I was describing it to somebody this morning that it feels like a boomerang energy. And we're ramping up to this kind of action of looping around. So what happens when we have momentum and then we go around a big curve? We can slide off the track. That's what it sounds like. That's what it feels like. Like either we're going to hold on and make it around this curve, or we're just going to slide off the track, and the thing that we're dealing with is going to be finished or defunct or obsolete. So if you've had a week behind you that just felt odd, in Vedic astrology we have this thing called nimitta. Nimitta means signs, like you see signs. For example, if a raven came and landed on the railing behind me, that would be kind of a nimitta. So this week my watch stopped. I've gotten really addicted to wearing my watch all the time. That's probably a Saturn thing. And it just ended, it stopped, the battery went gone, and that's just normal. And so I have a backup watch. I got the backup watch out, and that ended too. They both died. So there's something going on this week. I mentioned it to another person, and they said my iWatch died. So interesting stuff going on. So zooming out, we're having an eclipse cycle. Tomorrow's eclipse is a total lunar eclipse, September 7th. And then 2 weeks later, we have a partial solar eclipse. Did I say lunar eclipse for the first one? It should be. So tomorrow, the 7th, lunar eclipse total. The 21st, we have a partial solar eclipse. And, just like when Mercury goes retrograde, that is usually for about 3 weeks. But we advise you to watch the week before the retrograde and after the retrograde. So it turns out to be like a 5-week thing rather than a 3-week thing. Even though the eclipses are 2 weeks apart, I'm now declaring that we have the week ahead of the eclipse and then the week after the eclipse. So let's think, okay, all of September is our eclipse month. And do I think, really dramatic things happen during eclipses? Not always. I'm sure we can go through history and correlate. Maybe AI can do it. But it's going to particularly affect people and countries whose charts have major placements around where these eclipses are happening. So let's be really general and say this is a Aquarius, Leo focus. We have the nodal axis in Aquarius and Leo up until the end of 2026. So we're going to probably have 2 more eclipse cycles through this particular time. The lunar eclipse tomorrow, September 7th, is happening in the sign of Aquarius. When the moon is eclipsed, it's when the moon is full. So we're having a full moon and then an eclipse. How exciting. The idea of eclipse is like a shadow coming over the light. you know, look, I just eclipsed myself, and now I uneclipsed myself. We use shadow and light all the time. And it doesn't have to always mean the world's going to end or something's bad is going to happen. Generally, I recommend turning inward during eclipses and doing some meditation and figuring out what it is in your life that needs to be eclipsed. Maybe you choose to eclipse that thing rather than the universe doing it for you. Just things to think about. So we're looking at the chart here of this way. This is Sunday, September 7th. One thing I want you to look at are the numbers of RA. RA is Rahu. He's the one who's eclipsing the moon. This is the beginning of Sunday. So the eclipse happens at the moment of the full moon. What you're looking for is the degrees of the sun and the degrees of the moon to be exactly the same. That's how we know it's the moment of the full moon. And that's when those two luminaries are lined up, and we can then have that shadow play come in. The Earth is actually the one shadowing the moon. Think about that. It's you. You're the Earth. You're the shadow. You're doing this. You're the one taking the light away from the moon. We are the ones taking the light away from the moon, because the sun's going to be behind us, the moon's going to be in front of us, and it's going to be just lined up right where that light that makes the moon bright when it's full goes away just for a little while. It happens twice a year, 2 times twice a year. So we have an average of 4 eclipses a year. So think about Aquarius in your chart, where Rahu and the moon are the ones really in this action of September 7th. We'll talk more about the September 21st partial solar eclipse later. But overall, I would say this is the big thing of this week, is this lunar eclipse. Otherwise, no planets are really changing signs. I'm looking from Sunday to Saturday. That's what I consider 1 week. On Saturday, the 13th of September, the Mars will change signs. You can see there that Mars is at 25:59 in this particular day that we're looking at. And by Saturday, he will cruise over until into Libra. So pretty much everything's staying put this week, except for the moon. The moon always is moving. No other planets are changing signs except for Mars. He's kicking off a bunch of changes. So next week, this is going to be a different video, because Mars will change on Saturday, and then we've got Venus, Mercury, Sun following suit. So there are a lot of changes next week. If you got to do something important and there's eclipses going on, maybe don't do it today, right at the eclipses. Sometimes we have to do something. My sweet spot for this month is, even though everything's changing, I'm looking at the middle of the month between the 2 eclipses. So that's just my own way of looking at it. Okay, so this is Sunday, lunar eclipse, Aquarius. So find in your own chart, if you know your own chart, what house is Aquarius occupying? Is it your first house? Is it your 7th house? Is it your 4th? This is going to give us a clue as to what is this eclipse going to do for my chart. Where's it going to push on me? What shadow do I need to put in front of my eyes for a moment, so I can maybe feel into something rather than getting my input from outside sources. Think about it that way. When the lights go out, what are you going to do? You have to turn inside and find your own way. It's confusing. I'm not going to lie. Rahu with the moon, it's confusing. It can feel like there's too many choices, or there's not enough choices. There's instability. How can you make a clear decision? So maybe don't make a big clear decision at the moment. All right, I'm cruising us forward to Monday. This is the September 8th. As you can see, the moon moves to Pisces on Monday, and it's with Saturn. Monday and Tuesday, the moon will be in Pisces with Saturn. And so Rahu and the moon can be confusing. Saturn and the moon can be sad. It can be depressing. It can be hard. It can feel like nobody sees me and I don't get what I want and why should I go on? These kind of feelings. Remember, this is 2 days. Moon with Saturn, and it happens every month. So maybe these look-aheads will help you prepare for the week ahead. I've been saying for the last, sometimes that moon with Rahu is not easy and moon with Saturn is not easy. The way it's going to be for all of us for a while, because Rahu and Saturn are in contiguous signs, is that we're going to have 1 week a month where it's going to be confusing and then sad. This is that week. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, the moon is going to be going through some rough territory. Let's also notice that on Monday and Tuesday that we've got Mars opposite the moon. Mars is already opposite Saturn. So that feels like a push-pull. So if you've got something like that going on in your zone, it might be ending, because Mars is about to move out of Virgo, and the opposition that's going on between Mars and Saturn has been loosening up. So this could feel like, all right, something that has been a lot of friction is finally settling down this week. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it might settle down. All right, let's go one more day ahead. This is Tuesday. So we've got the moon at about 17 degrees. I'm looking, of course, I'm at Estes Park this week. We're not even in Washington, D.C. This is where I live. You can see it behind me. So moon and Saturn again on Tuesday, and it is Mars's day. I might have mentioned that each of the days of the week has a planet that rules it. So if you got something to do that's difficult and needs some pushing and whatnot, maybe pick Tuesday. Post eclipse, but it could, something could come up where you're finally like, all right, this is gone, I'm done, let's move on. So that's Tuesday. Always a good day to do difficult things. Okay, Wednesday. Moon starts the day in Aries. So Wednesday and Thursday, we're going to see moon in Aries. Aries is also getting Mars's aspect. So we can still do difficult things on Wednesday that take courage and fortitude. So that is it. That's on Wednesday. And you can also see, just notice the numbers again. Rahu at 24 degrees, Jupiter at 25. The eclipse on Sunday kind of breaks up that aspect that's been tightening up. We've had Rahu and Jupiter coming up on each other aspect-wise, and this will be breaking up in the week ahead. So Jupiter's going to be moving toward the end of Gemini, and Rahu moves backwards. So that's loosening. All right, let's move it ahead. Thursday. So Wednesday, Thursday, we have the moon in Aries. Again, Mars is still influencing the moon there. Otherwise, no other planets really are. And I like that. I like when the moon is alone, going through the sky and not really interacting with other planets. It kind of makes things a little bit more clear. And I do want to point out that after the eclipse, which is the moment of the full moon, the moon begins to wane. But this week, even though it's waning, it's still bright. It's still going to be a bright moon. Go out and look at it at night. Friday, moon goes to its exalted sign of Taurus. Moon loves being in Taurus. There is one aspect coming into Taurus right now. It's Saturn, the retrograde Saturn. So that might feel a little glitchy on Friday with Saturn aspecting the moon. But the moon is still relatively strong and Saturn is retrograde, and I'm not too worried about that. It does look like things might be a little bit more peaceful, social come Friday and Saturday. So I'm just going to kick us up to Saturday. This is Saturday the 13th of September. The moon is still in good condition in Taurus. And you can see down there at the bottom right corner that Mars at 29:56 will move over into Libra on Saturday the 13th. And again, that's a kickoff. We'll get back with you on what to look for next week. But yeah, this is an interesting month, you guys. I don't know what else to say. It just seems like there's a lot of dynamic things happening, a lot of moving parts. Hard to be clear about what to do, hard to even know what you want. So take care of yourself. Don't hurry through things. Take time to sit down and close those eyes, and even if it's metaphorically, and just tune into what's real for you. Seems like there's a lot going on and a lot out of your control and a lot of people changing their minds. All of that stuff is happening. So best bet is to find a good place and time every day this week to just sit down and take stock. And question what you're finding on the outside, because your own perceptions are affected by your emotions, the outside world's goings on. It's hard to know what to do at the moment. But enjoy playing with the shadows and take care of yourselves. I will see you next week. Have a good one.